What a sticky situation we found ourselves in. A community reduced to shambles in only a few weeks. And a slippery snake, or should I say, lizard in our midst. The perpetrator of so many nefarious deeds. Maybe this lock can shine some light on the situation. The accusers and the ponder. Who can bring out the most evidence to prove their side of the argument? Only a world-renowned trial for the masses will reveal an answer to a waiting audience. How very exciting!
Hello, my name is Jack Coon. I am DA Rander and I totally recorded my lines. So I guess we should sum up what's happened until now.
That's easy enough. Atari and Penegrin made videos accusing Spoctor Theory of various crimes. Other users followed suit, including Ghosty and Stories, who made videos corroborating evidence of the crimes.
Which he admitted to.
I'm sure you'd like us all to remember that, but I've already proven that even if Spoctor admitted to them, most of the accusations levied against him were entirely false. He even would have known that, so obviously there's an ulterior intent to confessing in full.
Yes, and after that video, the community started looking at the claims with a more stingent eye.
Stingent.
Plus, the videos first accusing him, and the ones made to support those accusations, have since been taken down, along with Penegrin and Story's YouTube channels.
Like a murder of bitches.
That doesn't mean anything. Spoctor himself went on hiatus after he apologized. Wanting to get away from the stress of the situation is a completely normal response.
Guys, maybe we should just...
There's nothing to even talk about. We provided the evidence of Spoctor manipulating girls into sexual conversations when they weren't comfortable with it. And all you've done is try to question it. You clearly don't understand the gravity of the situation and you're acting like it's a baby slip-up. He knows he's guilty. He admitted it. It's about time that you guys do that too.
I've got to provide something to show there's more to this situation than these guys are letting on.
Spoctor Theory was messaging people in sexually inappropriate ways, one of which was Stories, who only just turned 9.
That's a stupid assertion.
Huh?
You provide evidence for so much in the situation except the age of the person Spoctor is messaging?
But I claimed that I was 8.
Spoctor also claimed to be guilty of the accusations as a whole, but the videos claim that he was asking for porn in a contest and that he didn't pay his artists, both of which I proved to be false by checking the contest itself and asking the artist. You're also claiming that he sexually harassed you, so you've provided evidence for this. Why would we not expect evidence for the ridiculous assertion that is your age? Also, why would you admit to being 8 on YouTube, a platform where the youngest age you're allowed to have an account is 13?
What reason would any of us have to lie?
I'm not lying. This is victim shaming at its finest. These screenshots prove that Spoctor was saying things that made me uncomfortable, but you guys think it's the victim's fault for existing. I told him that I was uncomfortable, but he kept pushing it on me, and that's a fact.
I can prove you wrong!
Huh? What?
Your evidence was so cut up that only 2 people would have access to the undoctored screenshots, so I asked the other person in the conversation.
What?
You were right about Stories in my conversation.
I was?
I've been fucking toyed with by my peers. Despite the disgusting things I've done, Stories fucking didn't say stop. I was encouraged. Plus, I know that Stories is 14.
Do you have any evidence to help clear your name?
Stories deleted most of her DMs that made her look really bad. Basically, she was offering me photos without being brought up by me. Believe me if you want, it's all up to you.
That's about as much evidence as Stories provided on that front.
However, I can offer this. It's one of the screenshots that Stories cut up. She forgot to delete it.
So, what did you want to talk to me about?
Well, I agreed with a lot of things you said. I want to give you access to the Discord where Stories Penegrin and I talked about Spoctor.
You think there's something incriminating in the chat?
I don't know, but I've been getting a weird feeling from Stories and Penegrin. I think they might have been up to something, but maybe you can figure out what it is.
Stories hid this part of the conversation, both from the screenshots she gave to Penegrin and Atari, and when she revealed more of the conversation in her own video. She claimed that Spoctor never lit up, even if she said she was uncomfortable, but this screenshot proves otherwise.
No! Where'd you get that?
These other screenshots also show a playful back and forth between Stories and Spoctor, even to the point where Stories is taking the active role in the sexual conversations.
That still doesn't fit. We have no reason to accuse Spoctor of anything.
Oh, so these screenshots of you plotting to ruin him back in January don't show an intent to accuse?
What? No!
You're busted! Okay, but can we be real for a second? I was Googling Penegrin images so I could draw that opening, and I came across this image, and I just... When you create a character with 2 fingers and a thumb, but then you realize you're a hard rocker, so you have to Frankenstein another finger onto them so you can show how hardcore you are. Like, jeez, I thought I was bad for forgetting how many toes STEM has. You know, I don't generally like to toot my own horn, but in playing devil's advocate, you could look at the 3 messages and say that maybe Spoctor sent her an inappropriate picture, rescinded it, and apologized. But you could also look at it and think that Spoctor acknowledged that what he was saying made Stories uncomfortable and responded by stopping. This is why randomly cutting out parts of the conversation you're using as evidence is a bad thing. Honk honk! Yes, as PK Russell was able to reveal much earlier than this in his own video, the sneaky little bugger, my original hypothesis about one element of the conversation between Spoctor and Stories was correct. We both got into contact with Spoctor himself, and he was able to comb through the original Discord conversations. While Stories preemptively went through the conversation blocking Spoctor so that he would have less access, he was able to get at least a few of the screenshots. This one in particular showcases one of the most blatant instances of Stories cutting out context to manipulate the situation, or else flat out lying about it. Oh, but fret not, my cuties, this isn't the only juicy tidbit that I have for you. Mama Panda returns again to quench your thirst. I mentioned in my last video that I would be covering a lot of the additional videos that were done on Spoctor, and so that's today's agenda. Unfortunately, it hasn't only been those on the inside potentially guilty of manipulating the situation, but also those on the outside. And while one might point out that the intentions were nothing but noble going in, we've been left with a much bigger mess. Now, before I continue with the video, I'd like us all to take a nice, deep inhalation of glorious irony.
He'll never admit anything publicly, and he'll always want to save face. He'll start shit and then hide and face no consequences. I'm calling it now. He's gonna go on a hiatus and not say anything about this.
Oh, and for those of you who are unaware, I actually received a lot of criticism on my last video pointing out that I was taking a serious situation and not treating it with respect. With that criticism in mind, I'm going to be treating this video a little differently. By which I mean I'll be entirely taking the piss. First things first, machine gun points that I didn't make note of in the original video.
I want to set this straight right now. This is a serious video on a serious matter.
Which means you can only talk about it in a serious way.
This video isn't monetized because I think it's too gross to monopolize a matter like this.
Could just justify it by saying it provides you with funds to help other victims in the future, you sanctimonious prick.
I don't want this to become some kind of circus where people come forward and start making allegations without evidence. Those people do more harm than good.
Asserting that it wasn't a circus providing no evidence in the first place.
Especially by invalidating those who were personally involved.
Yeah, they can invalidate themselves!
Because this is such a sensitive topic, I will be putting comments under review.
Penegrin also put her video under review. That's why we can't see it anymore.
Spoctor, I know you're not going to watch this, because you've admitted enough times to me and other people that you don't watch any critical videos about yourself, which is incredibly ironic.
Wonder if Penegrin was more fired up to make these allegations because she knew the accused wouldn't pay attention to her.
But if this video stops one person from endangering themselves by talking to you, then it's done its job.
Penegrin would later go on to endanger herself in this manner.
You like to pretend you're some autonomous force that can't be reckoned with, and I have to laugh because everyone knew you were gonna slip up eventually.
See all the videos done on Penegrin up to this point, and then my video.
You know who got in touch with me as well? Your ex. You know, your ex who you lied about on everyone's servers, making us ban them because you vaguely called them a blackmailer. You know what? You wouldn't need to worry about your ex blackmailing you if you weren't a fucking terrible partner to begin with.
This is why Penegrin doesn't at all have to worry about deleting all her social media accounts.
I had to apologise to them because I felt so guilty for banning them for doing nothing wrong but hurting your fragile ego.
Oof, too soon?
I know someone's going to come out of the woodwork and criticise me for using private screenshots, which I understand is a bad move to make if you're doing this just to make someone look bad.
Which Penegrin would never do.
This is someone tactily preying on people and using their popularity to intimidate them into not saying anything. It's non-contact sexual abuse in its rawest form.
You guys remember when I joked that Penegrin, based on her own interpretation of the situation, would have also been guilty of non-contact sexual abuse? It's funny because there exists a screenshot now of her reacting to the supposed not safe for work Spoctor images that Story sent to her. Like, fuck girl, you didn't even have to interpret the situation incorrectly for that to be wrong.
So why am I involved if I haven't dealt with any of this firsthand?
Because he said thanks on a video that called me stupid!
I myself have had some very unsavoury run-ins with Spoctor, but the sexual abuse is paramount and should not be swept under the rug or overshadowed by petty things.
Like my intentions.
I want to say it right now that I want nothing to do with him in the future.
Wish granted!
I know what he's like. He'll never admit anything publicly, and he'll always want to save face. He'll start shit and then hide and face no consequences. I'm calling it now. He's gonna go on a hiatus and not say anything about this.
And now, class, turn to Penegrin's channels on your DA Weeb's textbook and note that they're all gone!
I've warned Spoctor that his obsession for porn will bring him down, and you know what he said? He said he stopped caring. I think that says a lot about a person when they stop caring about the legality and repercussions of their actions, and it paints a very bleak picture of them.
Like how you ignored the legalities I brought up in my video and instead tried to figure out a means of taking me down. And now it's time for Fiend's Teaching Corner!
Let's go!
If someone claims that you've broken the line, your only means of defending yourself is trying to take down that person who made the claim, you have a prospective career in politics ahead.
Hey Ponder, how do you put out your first video exposing the truth behind the situation, then still manage to come late to the drama?
Normally I don't make videos like this, and I especially don't post them here, as normally content like this would be put on my second channel. Hell, when the whole birdie drama happened way back when, I didn't dare touch that thing with the 10-foot pole.
Maybe biting your teeth on something as stupid as the birdie drama would have helped you recognize the ridiculousness of this one. Probably not, but you know, I like to be hopeful.
Seeing as this is a much more serious issue rather than two children bickering at each other and some self-proclaimed god threatening to mass ban every animator on this cursed hell site, I decided it was time to actually touch upon—
Happens a lot with this particular user, but they kind of just ramble on about unnecessary things. This is something I noticed quite a bit in these Spoctor videos, and it really cements the notion that the people talking about it don't understand the gravity of the situation, even when discounting the fact that the accusations were entirely without merit.
If you're an active member of the meme/rant/animation community, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, it's not unlikely that you've at least heard of Spoctor theory, and to say he didn't have me fooled at some point would be a complete lie. But that doesn't mean red flags didn't go off in my head from the beginning. Given the voice changer he uses, I thought he was an adult, either 18, 19, or 20 years old. And please note that the voice changer isn't as obvious as Stories.
And using a voice changer to play the part of a character is a big red flag. You know, I see a lot of this, I totally saw the red flags with Spoctor videos, but I'm not seeing that with Stories.
The reason that set off alarms in my head is because not only had I heard about the disgusting lewd contest he held a while back, but since it's a community made up of minors, some of them even being under the age of 13, mind you, I had a sneaking suspicion that something was going to go wrong eventually. And would you look at that, the raptor cat actually predicted something correctly for once in her life.
Gonna have to strike that one from the record.
I mean, I'm no clairvoyant. You could call me Yasuhiro Hagakure if you were to assume I was one, but believe me, I can read people clearly, and this guy just seemed like an asshole from the start. Because not only does he criticize other people's content, but he's a bit of a hypocrite himself, because he doesn't even watch videos criticizing his own content.
If I don't see a comment from you on this video, much disappoint.
Like, sure, maybe you're a sensitive crybaby or whatever, but by the time you've been outed for all your disgusting acts, I'd believe you'd go to cry in the timeout corner for a week and then come back and pretend as if nothing happened.
Is that why you deleted this video? To pretend as if nothing happened?
Too fucking bad you're not going to be able to do that now, because this shit is intolerable and definitely not accepted in a community like this.
Oh, the hindsight gets in your way of your attempt to be on the moral high ground. It's such a bright sunny day when a different different community points out the hypocrisy.
Especially when you yourself is still a minor.
Sure, we're not willing to accept that someone could make mistakes, especially when they're a minor. How did you say that without hearing exactly how stupid it was?
Oh, but he's almost an adult. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just a child.
Yeah, you could say that, but then that would be the equivalent of me running over an entire crowd of people with a car and then claiming, oh, but I'm 16, and even though I've never had a license, I'm still legally allowed to drive. And in that scenario, I would probably be trying to run people over. Imagine I knew exactly what I was doing. Now make the necessary connections, and you can see where I'm going with this.
No, I can't. In the scenario you're providing, you've explicitly stated that you would be attempting flat-out murder despite being a minor. Firstly, despite there being classifications for someone to be tried as either a minor or an adult, in a situation so serious, the offender would likely be tried as an adult despite their age. Secondly, you've claimed that as having been your intent, wherein you failed to prove that Spoctor had any such intent, just as the original videos failed to prove.
There's no way you can defend something like that because he fully knew what he was doing, begging for free art, begging for a free fursuit, which, by the way, costs thousands of dollars if you were to pay for one.
So now we're just flipping over from the actively serious accusations that you were clearly alleging to and onto, well, but he didn't pay for art. What planet do these people live on?
Sexually assaulting minors.
Assault. Make a physical attack on. No! And what kind of evidence is this supposed to be? Oh goody, a Twitter screenshot of people discussing the drama. Not only do we not get to see who made this claim, but we already know that their citing of the situation is skewed since Spoctor was 15 to 16 at the time of the chats being used as evidence against him. The youngest didn't tell him to stop what we've seen and instead was actively hitting on him, and the evidence of people asking him to stop was cut up and presented in a manner to make him look bad. What, you couldn't be bothered to go out and look up legal terminology around the situation or even confirm whether or not the tweet was correct? You're just going to blindly look at it and accept it at face value enough to use as evidence in your own video? This is why nobody in the community is mature enough to look at situations like this critically.
He's moaning for money on stream and then getting mad at people for taking him seriously.
This is something I actually found out after the fact. See, I was under the assumption that with the phrase moaning for money, the implication was that he was demanding that his viewers give him money. But apparently he was literally moaning for money on stream. As in, people would give him money and he would moan. I'm guessing seductively. Goddamn, this funny as hell.
Sexually assaulting other minors.
What? No? You don't get to make the claim that he was assaulting minors and then use the claim that he was assaulting other minors. The implication that he assaulted minors was already made despite it being incorrect. You're repeating the allegation and passing it off as a separate offense.
And that's just the short list.
So short that there were only 3 things listed.
There's a fuck ton of other stuff I could list, but before I do that, I'm gonna take this opportunity to put up a warning. If you're not comfortable about these topics, now's the time to skip to this timestamp for conclusion or whatever. Here's your warning, 3, 2, 1, go.
Does anyone find it hilariously stupid that there's a trigger warning for people who are potentially sensitive to grooming or assault allegations, but the video itself is directed at people so that they don't fall victim to grooming or assault? Like, you'd think if they were already sensitive to the topic, they would want to know the details so that they could make their own conclusion on whether or not to avoid the accused. Even then, Paintosaurus has already claimed that Spoctor was committing sexual assault against minors. Trigger warnings tend to go before that part.
Assuming that Spoctor lives in the US, judging from just his voice because there's no sense of any kind of accent other than American, I'm going to talk about some legal stuff. Given I did a project on this stuff in my grade 9 French class, I'd like to think I'm pretty well educated on the law, at least here in Quebec anyways.
Oh no! This is why ranchers can't be trusted with anything. Golly! By this logic, it was my forensic presentation in grade 10 that dictated that I could be good at tearing apart bad evidence. Did you also have a grade 8 presentation on being complicit and just believing what you're told?
Regardless of the fact that Spoctor himself is a minor, the things that he's been doing are still classified as illegal. For example, he interacted with a 13-year-old who was in a relationship in a sexual way, saying sexual things that made the other participant of the conversation extremely uncomfortable.
Their relationship status is irrelevant in this case. It's not a prosecutable offense to hit on someone already in a relationship, at least not in the United States.
Of course, each state has their own law, but the general consensus under the Child Protection Program is that minors cannot legally consent if they are under the ages of 16 and in some states 18.
And since Spoctor turned 16 at the beginning of the provided screenshots, he could also not legally consent. Case closed! I wish.
Here in Quebec, we have much more flexible sexuality laws, with the legal age of consent being 14. However, it's legal to sexually interact with someone who is 4 to 5 years older than you, no matter if you give consent or not. Under the eyes of the law, it's non-consensual.
Why are you citing Quebec law when I imagine you are aware that Spoctor has been, up to this point, considered a citizen of the United States of America? Would it not have behooved you to actually look up American sexual laws? I mean, it would have, but we've already seen you don't do that.
But Paint, it's not in real life, so it doesn't count.
Actually, yes, it does. And I'd be willing to buy into that excuse if, there wasn't an actual term for it. Non-contact abuse is the correct term for this kind of assault.
Acknowledges the term non-contact sexual abuse. Goes on to call it the term for this kind of assault. Non-contact. Assault. Non-contact. Physical attack. Non-contact. Physical.
Encouraging a child to look at porn, which he sent nudes to multiple minors, that's non-contact abuse. There are many other cases where he's abused this non-contact thing, but there's about 5 to 6 cases of it, and if I were to go into full detail, I think I would throw up.
Claims that it was pertinent to address this matter because it was serious. Doesn't go into the potentially serious elements of the case because reasons. Brilliant!
Not that I don't feel like doing that already. Not to mention, one specific case involves Spoctor sending news to a minor who was already in a relationship, purposely made them uncomfortable and pressured them. Sounds familiar.
Is absolutely nobody surprised at the various instances of Spoctor sexually assaulting minors that Pantosaurus had cited have been all cases of Spoctor interacting with stories? It's funny because hindsight. Oh, and don't you worry, cuties, if you don't already know why that's funny, you will soon.
But no matter what way you look at it, it's illegal in every way, shape, and form.
As said by someone who clearly only ever looks at a situation with blinders on.
Also, not to mention, he begged people to draw porn of his OC, and a lot of people he begged were minors as well.
They say, citing absolutely no sources or screenshots indicating as much. For those who don't remember, in my last video I looked at the screenshots of Spoctor asking for porn from minors. He was asking if they already drew porn, and with no provocation from him, the minors' responses were, from the first one, that they could, and from the second, that they did, but they did not post the images online. No begging involved. And just a teaser for you guys, in the next video, somebody's going to introduce us to another citation of Spoctor pressuring an artist for not safe for work art, and it's just as stupid as you would imagine.
He even held a fucking contest for people to draw lewd art of his fucking lizard man persona. That is disgusting.
Oh, you poor baby. To be subjected to things that are deemed not safe for work? You poor thing.
We didn't accept that shit from Birdie when she drew NSFW art, yet this guy gets a pass for not only holding a contest for people to draw NSFW of his OC, but flat out begging other people to? That's disgusting. And don't forget that this guy is 17. Say what you want about minors looking at R34, but how can you just let this shit slide?
I have no eyes, yet they bleed.
I get that you might be fooled by that grown man persona that Spoctor tries to pull off, but he's a scumbag cunt underneath that facade. There's been ridiculous drama in the rant and animation community, but I'd argue that this has to be the worst case.
I would agree, but it's for an entirely different reason, and I would surmise you hadn't imagined yourself to be a contributor to it. Oops!
Yes, even worse than the IRL memes of kids holding knives up to their faces. Yes, even worse than Kapu Official being a zoophile. Yes, even worse than Sleepy King exposing his audience of minors to rape jokes.
See, I don't know much about the Sleepy King drama, but to that assertion, Ponder's got a new toy she wants to try out.
Let's go, it's on another channel. No, get it away, no, no.
I'm dead! terrible.
None of that shit compares to what this poor excuse of a critic has done. I'm sorry if I'm being aggressive, but it's shit like this that really grinds my gears. This shit is flat out disgusting, and you bet your ass Spoctor isn't gonna touch this at all. No apology video, no deactivation, worst case scenario, he leaves for a week to whine about it by himself and jack off to lizard porn, only to come back and pretend nothing happened. Sorry Spoctor, but I don't think anyone's going to forgive the shit you've pulled off.
No apology video, no deactivation, worst case scenario, remove the video and pretended like nothing happened.
There are people who look up to you, and imagine now they're learning you're nothing but a disgusting predator. Sometimes I expect more from this community, but it is nice to see everyone getting together to call this guy out. Spreading information is important, and frankly, that's the reason I'm uploading this on my main channel.
And with that nebulous screaming from the void over the irony of that statement, we're going to ignore the last bit of the video because it's just Paint linking to Atari's page and putting in a very jarring and completely inappropriate end card. Gag me!
Octopi! Ah! When trying to prove something, whether it be a claim against a person or simply the confirmation of information, it's important to actually look for evidence. If you can't be bothered to go out and look for it in the first place, then you're only making an assumption, and you can't be surprised when someone proves your assumption wrong.
I don't know why. Every time someone gets relevant, they decide to become a fucking predator.
State of Florida has asked us to disclose our sexual crimes to you. We were bad, but now we're good. Moving into your neighborhood. You know we're trying our best to be functioning members of society. We're not here to start no trouble. We're legally required to do the sex offender shuffle.
Can I just point out that popular people tend to end up being revealed as sexual offenders because it's a mentality they tend to have already had, but they now have an audience over which they can abuse their power? Like, how is this not obvious?
So, if you don't know who Spoctor Theory or Spoctor Tech has done...
Oh yes! Please tell us who Spoctor Tech has done!
Well, they have been texting very explicit things to minors, and also just kind of forcing them to do stuff they don't want to do. Apparently when people get relevant here on YouTube, they think they could do anything they want because they have a shield full of their loyal subs, and that they're untouchable and they can get away with everything. Heck, even I knew that he was changing, and not even in a good way.
This is dumb. Let's read this off. Sproxyclean. I used to talk to Spoctor a lot before he got popular. Tori. Oh, really? Sproxyclean. Yeah, I don't know why, but he started to ignore me when he was at his peak of popularity, shaking my head how people can forget about you because of fame. Considering I'm currently dealing with issues of this nature, I'm going to dispel this myth. You're not being ignored because someone else got popular, you're being pushed to the side by literally all of the other people vying for that popular person's attention. The more popular a person gets, the more people are coming to them, messaging them, and trying to get their praise, friendship, attention, insight, help, etc. What people don't seem to realize is that as a person becomes more and more popular, they have less and less time to devote to talking to all of those attention-seeking fans. At some point, you end up having to prioritize your time. You have to determine what people to pay attention to, whether that be because they're your friends, or because they can help improve your own content, or because they're simply more fun to interact with. Similarly, you can imagine an extremely popular artist who opens commissions with limited slots. They do this so that they don't get overwhelmed with too many projects. Or imagine a family with a large amount of children. The more children there are, the less time the parents can spend with them individually. On top of that, when you're popular in particular fields, you generally also have to focus on social media, promoting your work, actually creating the works that you're popular for. If you're popular for non-financial reasons, then you still have to work for money. You have non-internet obligations, chores, shopping, school, family, pets. This is just mindless complaining that someone gained more popularity and left you in the dust. You don't explain what your relationship with Spoctor had been before that. Were you actually friends? Or did you just do the same song and dance of, hey, what's up? Not much. How about you? That people seem to think constitutes being friends. What's more irksome is that this isn't even the only complaint of this ilk that I've come across in these videos, although the more egregious of the offenders was actually confident enough in this being a condemnable offense that he actually messaged me about it and sent me his video. Needless to say, this is just how reality works. I'm not even gonna say sorry that he didn't think you were interesting enough to continue to entertain, because Sproxy Child actually has 17,000 subs. So guaranteed there are people who have been vying for their attention that they have in turn chosen to ignore. This is dumb!
If you guys see this behavior, you should definitely report it, because behavior like this should not be tolerated.
I'm reporting you for not replying to my comment!
Because if they know they can get away with something, they'll keep doing with it, because you know what? No consequences. I'm glad this is finally catching up to him. I don't think an apology would surpass the things that he has done.
Would an apology be appropriate on your end after making this video? Or does you deleting the video and pretending like nothing ever happened amount to the same thing? Ooh, I recognize that from somewhere!
I think the thing that pisses me off most about this whole situation is that when Spoctor wrote his very first tweet on the issue, he said he was going to make an apology tweet. Not a video, but a tweet. Then people were saying that he should make a video. Then he decided to do a video until I looked at this comment. And it was technically saying like, yo, how can I even forgive you? And he responded by saying like, oh, I'm not declining the things I did.
Can we all just marvel at how Sproxy sneered at Spoctor wanting to make a tweet about the allegations, like a tweet wasn't good enough and a video clearly would have been the better option, then proceeds to overlook someone also sneering at Spoctor for wanting to make a video like a video wouldn't be good enough? Guilty until proven innocent in the eyes of the public, and any means of trying to prove your innocence just makes you look worse.
But I'm gonna decline the fact that I was transphobic. Like, yeah, out of all the things to worry about, that's the thing that you worry about most.
I mean, it's what Question Turkey worried about most.
My personal opinion, I don't think that we should forgive Spoctor Theory. He's done so many bad things. Why should we forgive him?
Why should you delete your video? Why should Octomama pretend like you didn't make this video? Sproxy, I swear to Cthulhu.
We forgave people like Geozard and Toon Critic, but they still continued their actions.
Okay, now I'm just curious.
To be honest, if you see someone like this, don't accept them, or don't accept them that easily. Forgiveness is earned.
If you've watched a few DA Rantus, you probably heard the name of a person named Spoctor Theory before. I bet you probably thought that he was a decent human being.
Thought he was a lizard.
Guess what? He's not. Why is he so bad exactly? Well, he forced underage people to draw porn of his character and his partner at the time. He also treated his partner like shit by being gross all the time and sending unwanted nudes.
This is what I like to call broken DA weebaphone. It's when multiple DA weebs talk about the same topic, but half of them don't understand said topic and then proceed to perpetuate that misunderstanding and spread it to others who will then further exaggerate or lie about the claims. We start off with Geozard saying that Spoctor forced underage people to draw porn for him, when the original claim was that he asked for porn from minors. Next, he claims that he treated his partner like shit by acting gross all the time, when the original complaint was just that basically that he'd said sexual things to someone he was dating and that was bad. Then he claimed that Spoctor sent unwanted nudes to the person he was dating, which wasn't the case. And you can't send unwanted nudes to somebody who asked for them. Whoops! How did that get in there? That's not until later. We're barely 20 seconds into the video and Geozard has already showcased a blatant misunderstanding of the original claims.
Also, his ego is so massive.
Ah yes, the cardinal sin of having an ego.
How does it feel to be with a ranter like me? Please, shut up and go crawl back into E621 where you came from.
How does it feel to be friends with a commentator such as myself?
Be right back, I'm messaging Junkie over how you're sexually harassing me.
No! I've been exposed!
He uses his sub count to manipulate others into doing shit for him, and never publicly admits to doing things because of his fragile ego.
And now we've moved into that straight up didn't happen territory. None of the original videos on Spoctor showcase that he held his larger subscriber base over people's heads to make them do things. And what things would he be publicly admitting to exactly? What claims have been made about him in the past that would necessitate a public admittance?
Remember, just because you have a lot of subs doesn't mean you're a good person. Also, don't be afraid to oppose someone just because they have a lot of subscribers. You're allowed to have your own opinion, and if people attack you for it, they're stupid.
I wonder if Geozard respects that all these people have different opinions than him.
This guy literally left his own Discord server when being confronted about his actions by Pentagrin.
A claim that we have only heard from Pentagrin and without any substantiating screenshots to prove said claim. Can we all just appreciate the fact that Pentagrin never went into detail as to how exactly she purportedly got Spoctor to leave his own server, so we can all now just have fun speculating how exactly she did that? I like to think that she paid off a scientist to create a transmutated rat man who would then make his own Discord server where accounts named after famous rodents in history would reenact events from Spoctor's server, attracting the attention of a failed mutagenic hawk experiment who would recognize his creator's love of rodent history and would then be given an anonymous invite to a server that he believes to be the same one with the rodents, but which is actually Spoctor's server, and then would track down Spoctor and, like the mutagenic hawkman he is, scoop up the lizard boy, making those in his server believe that he had left because Pentagrin called him a doofus, as she had cleverly calculated her insult towards him would happen at that very moment. Dun dun dun!
And he continues to avoid addressing his issues, and he continues to be a toxic human being.
Would this be dramatic irony or hindsight?
I feel like he's gonna go on a hiatus and pretend like nothing happened.
Where'd your video go then, huh, Geo?
Well, it's not really gonna go away quickly.
Da-da-da-da!
Because what you did was messed up. I mean, you've clearly harmed your partner and the underage children you interfered with.
So much so that they had to lie about the situation to make him look bad.
And that's not good. I feel like you should make an apology video addressing your mistakes, just to clear things up. And people may forgive you. And if they don't, then just accept it.
Well, I mean, I guess that explains why there's no apology on your channel regarding whatever this drama is. And that doesn't explain why I can search Geozard on Google and come across like 3 deactivated YouTube accounts and a deactivated DeviantArt account. So when it looks like you're running away, that's actually accepting it? Oh, wait, I get it. So Pentagrin and Stories did accept fault.
So, the moral of the story is, stay away from Spoctor theory. I know I should have made this video longer, but
I didn't know enough about the situation to make a video long enough for multiple ads.
Let's go!
If one of your claims against a person is that it's bad for them to use their popularity to send their audience to report art thieves, then one of the people implicated in the existence of these claims should not be tweeting out promotions of the very same thing. When Stories tweets out Skull General's post telling people to mass report someone, it's the same as Spoctor letting his audience know about an art thief. You don't get to pick and choose who's allowed to do it based on whether or not you like them.
This will be my first rant. I will be addressing the Spoctor theory incident. I know this is not the first rant on Spoctor, but I can't let this go unspoken.
I feel like I've just crashed into an episode of Badly Done Rants. Spoctor, where are you?
Being a transgender myself, I am thoroughly disappointed with the actions that Spoctor has done.
Oh! Being a transgender myself, I am thoroughly disappointed by the actions Spoctor has done. Bring out the gravy and the stuffing, we got another turkey on our hands. I'm starting to feel like exposing the flawed evidence wouldn't act as much of a deterrent to X-Zone Wolf, mostly because, based on this video, evidence clearly isn't very important to them.
This is not acceptable in society, even if he is more popular than me and all the people I know combined. I don't care. This is not right. We cannot just let him off with a warning.
Why? You seem to have taken my video as a warning and since removed yours. That seems to be a trend with you guys. Too bad Octomama thinks ahead.
He has exploited people to draw him porn.
Now the claim is that he exploited people drawing him porn? Guys, I'm having trouble keeping up with all the new accusations.
And they're not knowing he's underage. He's not 18, it's illegal to show underaged person porn.
This video is starting to put me to sleep. I need to pick me up. Now this is Stories, trying to get down to the bottom of the barrel and be made a clown. I'd like to take an hour before this video ends to describe how she tried to ruin those who thought they were friends. All the DA ranters so young and dazed. Online they flock to drama as if in a haze, screaming and railing and making their vids and shooting accusations upside of a fool. But Stories decided to be up to no good, baiting people like they really understood. Tried to be a victim in a fight, then fled, and claimed that anyone who didn't believe her must be out of their heads. She called upon her goat and they both disappeared, while she screamed victim blaming. It's the truth that she feared. People can say, but where was the invitation? But does that really matter? It's child solicitation! She claimed she was so young, about 7 or 8, and she yelled to the lizard, "Yo, Holmes, here's a nude!" Send it to friends like it was no big deal, but the truth is a bitch when situations get real. Brought to you by the Foundation for DA Weebs Not Cluing In on the Point, and today's video sponsors, everyone who attacked Atari in her comment on my last video, you stupid motherfuckers!
It's me again. I'm posting another video. We are going to be talking about Spoctor, or Spoctor. I shouldn't make jokes about this.
Yes, because this is an important video about important topics, and one would not deign to offend the victims with anything other than my explaining totally important thingies doodles.
But, I'm not gonna talk a lot about, like, the personal drama of the sexual things that he's done with, like, specific people, mostly because that's not a lot of my business. It's more of the bigger creators' businesses, because at least they've talked to them, they've consoled them.
Didn't stop them from being stupid. Also, now I just feel left out. I didn't have to talk to anyone except the artist to make my video. Guess it's none of my business then.
So I'm not gonna talk about that part. About one of his series, which I really don't like. It's like kind of weird, gross things that he's done, like not through text. Through like on Fur Affinity and junk like that.
What? About one of his series, which I really don't like, is like kind of weird, gross things that he's done not through text. Was that even a cohesive thought?
Also, this is probably gonna be a little short, so that's just kind of something I wanted to say. Unless it isn't, and I decide that this is gonna be longer.
How long can I bullshit?
Okay, let's get into it. Okay, back to the talk sprites. So, I really don't like this because kids that are just starting out, like, they just want to make videos if they want to. Like, everyone starts somewhere. God, Spoctor, you started somewhere.
Oh, good God, I know what this is. Zulu is talking about Spoctor's badly done rants video series. Basically, if you've seen my commentary on creepypasta character reviews, it's that. If not, then all you need to know is that it's Spoctor collecting poorly done, usually DA drama-related rants and explaining why the video is bad, what can improve in it, and sometimes cracking jokes. In these videos, Spoctor hides the names of those he talks about and usually only talks about the video for 1 or 2 issues with each. So let me just make sure everybody understands what's happening here. Despite the allegations made against Spoctor at the time, despite the severity of those allegations, despite jumping on the bandwagon of videos made in response to the allegations, Zulu decides to focus on how he tells children to fix their videos. This is what we have come to. Next thing you know, the next video will just talk about how Spoctor's a meanie bobini for 32 seconds.
Your videos might have not been as bad quality as these ones, but I feel like people, if they want to get their opinions out there and they have limited options, then at least if their video is like, has a good kind of like points and stuff, then like, I feel like the quality of it isn't, like, if it isn't great, then it's not a giant deal and you don't have to make a series about it.
Sure, for somebody's first video, that might be acceptable. Nobody starts off knowing everything, but firstly, you're assuming that Spoctor frequently critiques the first videos done by those he looks at, which is something you haven't showcased, and secondly, you're acting as though just because it might be someone's first attempt at making a video, that means it's not okay to criticize the result. That's stupid. Furthermore, even if one were to cater to your opinion here and make first videos off limits, by what point is it then supposed to be okay to criticize the video maker's finished works? The second video? The third? Fourth? At what point do the mistakes of the first video become unacceptable in the eyes of the audience? An audience which, should I note, the user would not likely have if their first video is lacking and that level of quality then extends to their other videos. Criticizing the work of another is generally done in an effort to make future projects look and flow better, which tends to help the creative behind the work accumulate a larger audience, which is probably a good thing for people who just want to get their opinions out there. You can't effectively get an opinion out there without actually having people take in that opinion. So if no one is watching the videos you've made, you've failed in that goal. Attracting an audience through better quality work is just common sense at that point. If the creatives are children, then they're less likely to be able to evaluate the quality levels of their own work from an unbiased perspective. In that sense, I would argue that it's better to give critique to those who wouldn't readily be able to notice the problems on their own. Creating a series about it and including multiple video makers as a part of the episode shows those who made the videos that they are not the only ones making these mistakes, so they're less singled out.
They're just kids. They don't have fancy cameras. They don't have stuff to record things on their computer. They're just children again. I repeat myself a lot, and I really do need to improve upon that, I know, but maybe one day, I don't know, I'll get in one of those badly done rants thing.
Why? You've clearly seen the badly done rants videos. At this point, one would expect you to be able to recognize the problems addressed there in your own videos and therein try to fix them. You already recognize it as a problem, which is more than I can say for a lot of people who make videos. Even then, what about those in the rant videos Spoctor talks about who do have cameras and those who do have microphones? I went and watched the videos. There are people who have those. The fact that those videos are included clearly showcases that there are more problems than just that.
Things. Because my things are just generally low quality and I don't have a lot of options. That some people just don't have, like, the right options. Like, their kids, they don't have, like, yeah, fancy things to record stuff on, but they still want to get their opinions out there. I feel like that just kind of just saying that kids' videos are shittily done is just kind of gonna ruin them. It's gonna, like, demotivate them that some huge YouTuber is making fun of their content, dude. God, the dude ruined it. I say dude too much.
Okay, yeah, remember when you were all, I don't have that many options? Here's a problem with this video that is completely disconnected from that. The little laughing talk sprite that you used doesn't need to be there. You drew these sprites beforehand, right? So you drew them with some vague knowledge of what you wanted to talk about, correct? That in mind, why not script what you're gonna say and draw sprites that directly correlate with what you want to convey? Then you wouldn't have instances of you saying dude too much, and you wouldn't need that laughing sprite. You know, something that clearly doesn't fit in with the tone of the situation this video was bandwagoning off of. There you go, criticism to make your work look better, wherein you're not impeded by your technical limitations.
Okay, now that that's out of the way, we're gonna talk a little bit about the sexual stuff.
I'm just gonna vaguely cover this halfway through the video. Blah, 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 blah.
You know, I've had run-ins, been sexually assaulted, and I've had run-ins with weird people that are very sexual. Some towards me, some that were sexual towards my friends. Spoctor is like some horny teenager that no one questions that he's a teenager. It's most likely he's like 16 or something. But, like, everyone doesn't care because he's just some big guy that he's a big lizard man with, like, fucking a voice changer and shit like that.
How is that a condemnation of Spoctor if other people don't care what his age is?
About the run-ins that he's had with people that are, like, personal. I'm not going to talk about that because that's, again, none of my business. I'm going to talk about the things like him freaking endorsing, like, people to draw, like, fucking porn of his OC, which is generally just gross, dude. Can you just, like, not endorse that? You can. It's, like, it's none of my business, but still, it's just gross.
Don't do this thing because it's gross. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. It's none of my business, but don't. Do you even hear yourself? Need I point out that Zulu isn't addressing Spoctor's age as a reason for him not to be asking for pornography? They just say that it's gross. Zulu, do you even understand why it's a no-no for Spoctor to be asking for pornography? I mean, teenagers do this all the time, and it's really more a problem that the artist didn't ask for his age beforehand, but that's debatable since a lot of people were apparently under the impression that he was 18 or older. Nobody with this mentality go to my Patreon.
Okay, so here's him generally endorsing people to send him lewd fan art of Spoctor, which is again gross. Dude, can you just... Oh my god, I'm not good at this, okay? I'm not good at giving points on, like, people endorsing, like, fucking lewd fan art of their characters. Like, it's creepy to ask people to draw lewd fan art of your character.
Why? I know that at his age, Spoctor shouldn't be requesting as much, but why is it gross? Because of his age? Well, that's something you didn't bring up before, and you already stated that he's a horny teenager, so why should this be a surprise? Because it's lewd artwork? Is lewd artwork in general just a bad thing? You know what? If you have a mentality like this, don't stick around for the fan art feature either.
And he also had a contest of drawing porn of his character.
I'm dying inside!
Which is, again, gross. I'm gonna finish up with those points, mainly because I would suggest, if you haven't already, to go watch, Atari and Pentagrin's videos on him. They talk more about the horrible, like, sexual harassment that he's done to people online, and ask for porn and stuff like that. They talk better about it because they write scripts. And I don't.
I hate everything! We're just gonna ignore the last few seconds of this video because it's just Zulu rehashing the whole making videos and starting out as super great while having absolutely no self-awareness. So, on to the next catastrophe. Oh god, it's Fran's video.
Let's go!
Subjective opinions should not be used against a person as though they were condemning facts. You can have subjective reasons for not liking a person, but you can't expect those same reasons to be as weighty to everyone else. While the evidence of a crime might be something to condemn someone for, trying to include a subjective opinion with serious allegations just makes it look like you're trying to find a reason to condemn someone for something you personally don't like.
Hi y'all, before you get on my ass about how I'm making a rant after I said I wouldn't, just leave me alone, because in my opinion this is an important topic. Spoctor is a very big icon in the community, and a lot of young people look up to him, and I have the right to talk about whatever I want.
I specifically denoted my unwillingness to engage in a particular format, and I'm now choosing to go against that, and you guys aren't allowed to bitch me out for it, because I can do what I want, which basically means that my entire point of I'm not gonna do this format unless I want to is rather superfluous. Like, really?
So, y'all, if you don't know what Spoctor did, then let me give you a quick rundown. If you want a video explaining things in depth, I'll leave links to Atari's video in the description.
Because it saves me from having to actually make my video relevant and helpful despite me claiming that I'm making the video because this shit is important, and that means I can just sail on through without having to put in as much effort. Guys, I already don't like this video.
He groomed and sent inappropriate pictures to multiple minors, and I'm talking like ages 13 and he's 17.
I still can't believe how absolutely no one recognized that he was actually 16 when all this went down. They keep touting the 17 number so fucking proudly. Pride is a sin!
And he's being called out for more things as well. Like, for example, being a hypocrite, which I talked about in my Why I Hate the Ranting community video, which, by the way, I was actually directing that video to him, but I was afraid I was going to be bashed, so I didn't say it directly.
That video's in my commentary folder.
He begged for money on stream.
Nope! He moaned! He seduced! He didn't beg! See, I don't blame Fran for coming to this same conclusion because, as I mentioned, that's what I thought he moaned for money on stream meant as well. However, I will blame Fran for thinking that's an actionable offense because that's stupid. If none of the other ridiculous allegations had been leveled against Spoctor in the first place, the notion that he purportedly begged for money on stream wouldn't be a serious enough offense to warrant a video. It would barely warrant a tweet. Including it here is entirely unneeded and simply serves to pad out the number of accusations to make things look even worse. Considering at the time this video was made under the assumption that he was grooming minors, yeah, that's kinda serious enough on its own. We don't need bullshit padding to make an already bad situation seem worse. In reality, that would simply veer attention away from the more pressing claims.
He begged for a free fursuit. He didn't pay his artist for the art he received for his talk sprites.
Why does nothing surprise me anymore?
He sent out his fan base to witch hunt people.
Are you serious? Fran, did you even read the screenshot you're showing? This tweet is clearly directed at Spoctor. If you even bothered to read what you yourself are presenting as evidence, then you'd realize it's a tweet from an artist whose art was traced over, and Spoctor responded to the alleged tracer showing dislike of the actions. Are you for fucking real?
He begged for NSFW art of his OC.
This isn't really begging, but he's still asking.
Should I be surprised that Fran basically condemns her own evidence? And no, it's not even asking. He's providing a place for people who draw lewd fan art for him to send it to him. You're not asking for fan art if you've already received it on a regular basis and are therein providing a place where you'll be sure to see it if people put it there. It's simply a matter of convenience.
And he endorses NSFW art of his OC, even though he knows that the people that will be drawing these things are minors, and he's a minor himself too, so that's just like, double illegal, that's cool, dude.
Not illegal for minors to draw not safe for work of their own volition. Not safe for work does not explicitly mean porn. Not illegal to send not safe for work to people under the assumption they are older than a minor.
But I don't want to talk about those things, because, I don't have anything new to put on the table, and I don't want to repeat what other people said.
You didn't even have anything correct to put on the table.
I just want to rant in general, and I want to talk about other weird or rude things that he's done in the past.
I didn't even realize this upon initial viewing, but you claim you only came back into doing a rant because of the Spoctor situation and how important it was. But your video, as you've just claimed, will not be discussing the elements of that important topic. Instead, you're just gonna rant about petting nothingness. Great! Lovely! My favorite!
But before I do, I want to tell y'all to stop defending this guy, because surprisingly there are people who are defending his actions. What he did was illegal and very wrong.
This video's been taken down.
I'm actually sad that I didn't realize that everything he did in general was just extremely pompous and arrogant. I don't know how many of you were around for this, but do any of you remember his old Discord server? Remember how at one point he called himself Daddy or something like that in the server, which later he said turns him on?
How is that supposed to be pompous? Because he called himself Daddy? Well, no, because being pompous means you're being self-important, haughty, or proud, and you clearly just denoted that he liked being called such because it purportedly turned him on, so it wasn't a matter of the title itself invoking a status of superiority per se, but rather one of dominance, which is different.
Remember how he always answered in a rude way to people that weren't famous and just his fans, both publicly and in DMs? If you ever spoke to him in DMs and you were just some random person, then you would know.
This is literally just you using anecdotal evidence based on your own interpretation of the guy. You couldn't even be bothered to actually showcase examples of this behavior, despite the fact that you claimed he did this publicly as well. Hey! If anyone wanted to say I was being too harsh and saying that you were riding the coattails of the drama without having to put in as much effort, you couldn't even be arsed to put in evidence for your own separate claims.
And I think that at one point he even had an NSFW channel in it, and I have no idea how nobody found that to be wrong. Dude, your fan base is 12 and you're letting them see that?
Discord has an automatic notice in not safe for work chats that if you're below the age of 18, you should not be viewing the material contained within, unless you can directly prove that Spoctor, as the main arbiter of the channel, was explicitly allowing minors entry into the chat, or that he told his moderators to allow them entry. You prove nothing. Oh goody! I suppose I'm meant to infer that this was one of the moderators of the channel? Because if so, they're denoting in this very comment that there was an 18+ rule. They are also implicating themselves in not enforcing said rule throughout the duration of the channel's existence. Good job, Lemon Queen!
That's illegal, and you're also underage, so that's double illegal. What are you doing?
Manipulating the system to view pornography, as most children who click the yes I am 18 button on sites generally do. People, I discovered porn at 14, shut the fuck up.
Honestly, I wish I could go into his old server and get examples, but I can't, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it.
I hate everything.
Anyways, besides the whole contest thing that he held, which, yeah, I joined because I was blinded by—
Guilty! Guilty! Brand onto the contest! I repeat, we have a code 90462! Get the dogs! Get the batons! Get the sexually ambiguous robots! Let's move it, people! Go! 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 Go!
Satan is our Lord and Savior. Satan is our Lord and Savior. Satan is our Lord and Savior.
Anyways, besides the whole contest thing that he held, which, yeah, I joined because I was blinded by the whole, like, oh wow, he's popular, he'll notice me if I join it thing. If he held that contest now, I would definitely not join it. Because, like, even before all of this stuff started to surface, it's just so weird how he asked his underage fans to make NSFW art of his OC. Like, ew, dude, just ew.
Fran, I'm gonna ask you a question. How oblivious do you have to be to use Spoctor's contest as a means of condemning him because the request of the contest itself is deplorable, and yet still admit that you participated in said contest? You don't simply get to claim, oh, but I was blinded by his fame, and ignore the fact that you participated in what you consider to be a gross situation. You're also explicitly showcasing a screenshot of the contest itself, meaning that you actually took the initiative to get the application rules for the contest, something that nobody else did, but apparently didn't look over them and find the claims about the contest itself were false! You didn't fucking read it! Seductive, which was the criteria for the contest entries, does not mean not safe for work. It can be, but that entirely depends on the artist. The fact that the contest outright says not to draw porn should be a good indication of what type of work would be appropriate. Furthermore, considering you managed to get this screenshot, put it in your video, and somehow not read the part of the entry guidelines that outright proves the original allegations about the intentions of the contest false, really shows how much investment you've put into this.
Can we just talk about how much of a dick he is to kids? He doesn't give criticism to kids. He straight up bullies them. Because it's easy content to make. Like, anyone can just pick up a microphone and be like, haha, you use text-to-speech XD.
I went to look at these videos, and at the very beginning of the Toxikai Rants one, Tech, the blue lizard boy, comes on screen and says not to listen to anything Spoctor says because he's a big meanie head. Someone with a brain might view this as him saying not to take the criticisms to heart. Even the beginning of his Birdie Rants the sequel video states, I do not condone harassment of the people I show in my videos. Oh, my tentacle goddess. He didn't even say anything about the first video in this one. He just asked what program was being used. God, death and destruction! How skewed is your interpretation of bullying that you think this is what constitutes as bullying kids? How many times a day did your mommy tell you that you were special? He even knowingly refrains from making his audience aware of the names of the users he covers to prevent people going to their channels and sending hate for the ultimate crime of making a bad rant. Did you even pay attention to these videos? It's not bullying to state when a person's voice is being drowned out by their music. It's not bullying to note that text-to-speech isn't as engaging as a person's real voice. It's not bullying to say that it's better to use a microphone in a video rather than have a video full of text that the audience doesn't have enough time to read. My videos are better examples of bullying. Guys, I took a break from this so I could go and watch all of these videos. I'm 17 pages in and I'm having to go watch something else. Actually, the last video is on OC reviews. Isn't the general consensus that if you review a character without the permission of the artist, it's a terrible thing and you're bullying them and blah blah blah? So in a video where Spoctor criticizes bad character reviews, he'd be potentially bullying a potential bully. He even critiques a video by a channel named Constructive Criticism. You'd think that the people on that channel would be willing to accept critique. Can I go to sleep and finish this tomorrow?
And whenever anyone tries to give him criticism, he deflects it. Like this, like shown in the screenshot.
That's not even him deflecting. If anything, he might just think the complaint was without merit. It can't even be proven that it was a criticism that he didn't take.
And he said that he doesn't watch any videos that are made about him. And honestly, some of those videos are actual criticism that he's dodging because he thinks he's so much better than everyone because he has a lot of subscribers and like, oh my god.
You literally cannot prove that. Spoctor isn't honor bound to watch the content that others make on him, just as they don't have to watch his own content. You don't show anything regarding why he chooses not to watch the content, so for all we know, it's simply because he makes videos for fun and doesn't want critique on something he does for his own amusement. I have terrible fucking handwriting. If people made videos
videos critiquing it, however, I wouldn't watch them, because nobody tends to have to be subjected to my handwriting except myself when I'm jotting down notes. If you want to leave a critique on someone's work, that's always fine, but unless Spoctor is out here asking for criticism from people and then turning around and ignoring it, it's not up to anyone but him whether or not he looks at, acknowledges, or bothers with that criticism.
Yeah. He's also like a major dick to people that are less popular than him. Like, look at this screenshot. Apparently this is what Spoctor thinks of people that are less popular than him.
That's not what that says! Not only is this someone else's secondary account of Spoctor's own beliefs as expressed to them, the comment doesn't specify what you're saying it does. The comment says that Spoctor never watched any of Lemon Queen's videos despite being subbed to them. It doesn't indicate why that was the case. You're simply taking the previous statement that Spoctor didn't interact with them to a certain extent because of their lack of popularity, and coming to the conclusion that this was also why he didn't watch the videos, and that this lack of activity and lack of interaction makes him a dick. No? That's not how that works. All you've really shown is that Spoctor didn't harass someone who was less popular than him, which would actually go against the original claims that he would sexually harass minors and would, in particular, boast about and hold his larger subscriber count over their heads. Mostly because I sincerely doubt there are a bunch of secret 13-year-olds with 70,000 subscribers that Spoctor's sniffing out and subsequently grooming. And that he didn't watch the videos of someone he subscribed to, which would be the case for a multitude of reasons, unless one were to ask him, there's no real way of knowing which would be the case. But guess what, guys? I went out and asked him. Hey yo, Spoctor, question. Working on the video, got to Fran's video. She brings up a screenshot where Lemon Queen, QCP I'm assuming, says that you admitted to subbing to her but also admitting to not having watched any of her videos. Care to give your 2 cents? It's not really important to anything, but I figured I'd ask so there'd be no bitching.
First of all, why is this something that I would get shit for? Second of all, yes, I subbed because she was my friend, but I never personally watched her videos. Reviews don't entice me. Am I seriously being lambasted for not watching somebody's content? Jesus Christ.
Wow, so it ended up being a really obvious and not a big deal reason. Honey, my family doesn't watch my content. They actively don't like it and voice their dislike of it. Plenty of my friends don't watch my content. I don't watch the content of some of my friends because I'm not interested. Boonslayer's a good example. I love his commentaries, but I don't watch cartoon reviews. In other words, you're making flagrant and smelly assumptions. Stop it!
It's actually so sad. Like, Spoctor must have some deep-rooted personal issues or something, and he feels the need to treat others like this.
I can think of some deep-seated personal issues a person might have to message someone because they express dislike of that person's video somewhere else.
And can we just talk about these tweets right here? Like, I'm honestly surprised that he's gonna respond to all of this, since usually whenever something bad happens, he goes on hiatus, ignores everything, and then comes back and acts like nothing happened.
Yeah, gee! It's almost like these were serious allegations being leveled against the guy. Shit gets real and people can't just ignore it? What a shock!
He's just gonna make a video for damage control, since he's losing subscribers like crazy, dude. Like, I'm watching his sub count live, and it's like the numbers are just going down rapidly. Like, at this point, I don't even think damage control can fix this.
That's where I came in. Oh, but sure, I could totally understand how damage control wouldn't fix certain problems, like sometimes an apology simply isn't enough, especially if the apology was done in poor tastes.
And also, mistakes? Like, I just want to underline the whole mistakes part. Like, I'm sorry, but you made the conscious choice to do all of these things.
As far as Fran is concerned,
grooming minors is a choice. You don't accidentally do that. Asking minors for NSFW art of your OC, that's not an accident. You don't accidentally make an entire contest dedicated to making NSFW art of your OC. You don't accidentally beg for a fursuit on stream. And you don't accidentally send nudes to a minor, okay? You just don't do that. Like, whoops, sorry, accidentally sent you a nude. Like, no, that's not an accident. None of these were mistakes.
That's why your video's still up, huh, Fran? Nah, because that was just a mistake. You know, we still have a lot to go through, but considering I know the screenshots to come, these were all mistakes, just not on Spoctor's part.
These were all conscious choices. I don't think he should make any explanation for his actions. He's just a sick person. That's why he did what he did, and there's no other side to all of this.
Remember in the last video when I was making note that people were telling him not to defend himself? This is such a disgusting mentality. The immediate, I know what I know and what I know is right, so there's no possible way you could ever be in the right.
I swear to God, so many predators and pedophiles say that their actions are mistakes, that they didn't really mean to. But, Spoctor, there really is nothing to hear from the opposing side, because to put it short, none of these things are mistakes. These were calculated actions that you consciously made, and you're just a cunt. Bye.
Wow, even throwing in the term pedophile. Lots of accusations you're throwing around there, Fran, especially with such flimsy and unsubstantiated evidence. It's a good thing that I was able to clear all this up in my video, or else Spoctor would still be facing the brunt of these claims despite being entirely innocent. Yeah. Remember when I said I wouldn't defend him on things he actively did wrong? Spoilers! Juicy things exist! While I was collecting all of the videos regarding Spoctor for this biggin, I came to the conclusion that Fran's was the worst one I'd seen. It jumped onto the bandwagon with claims of good intentions, but refused to talk about the, as stated in the video, important situation in favor of petty friend drama and trivialities, only to send off with an intense and frankly unwarranted condemnation of the target. On the bright side, Fran has since retracted her video and issued an apology. On to Fran's apology video.
Hi everyone, so today I'm here to apologize for my Spoctor video because as you all know, I spread misinformation in those videos. I should have contacted the artists and asked them if they were paid or not.
Why are you even mentioning this part of the allegations? You didn't cover that in your original video. You specifically cut out most of the actual allegations made against Spoctor, so why the hell are you apologizing for them? I swear to all that is wicked and sullied in the world, if this is just because I chided the community for not doing the most basic of basic research into the matter, I will scream. Apologize for the shit you actually said!
That was a big mistake of mine, and those screenshots were not valid proof. They didn't show anything.
You know, the annoying thing is, I think she thinks that not because she used the wrong screenshots for the respective parts of her video, but instead because they were overall proven to be without context or merit. And I would imagine this is only concerning the screenshots she acquired from the original drama, not the ones she provided on her own, which were still stupid.
But I just used them anyways because I thought, hey, he said gross sexual things, and Atari said that the person didn't want it. So it's obviously true, right?
So you believed things like everybody else believed then. Great. Sorry I was a sheep, you guys.
That was really stupid of me, and I'm gonna admit it. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, but I didn't know. I'm gonna, like, yeah, it was stupid of me. I should have done more research like I always do. I made that video out of anger because I was believing Atari and Pentagon blindly, because I'm a stupid, dumb, impressionable child. So just without question, I was like, wow, Spoctor's horrible. I can't believe this. I'm so angry. Let's make a video on it. And I wasn't jumping on the bandwagon, because if I was jumping on the bandwagon, I would have just repeated what everyone said over and over and over again, but instead I tried to talk about other things and other reasons why I don't like Spoctor.
No, Fran, you jumped on the bandwagon. Your additional petty reasoning for not liking the guy came immediately after you marginally discussed the fact that he was being accused of some pretty horrible things, and you even mentioned and linked to Atari's video on the matter. Plus, you ended the video off basically restating the accusations that he was purportedly grooming children and that he was a sick person. Your entire video was bookended with, you know what? No! I'm gonna fucking track it! From the start of the video to 1 minute and 38 seconds, you talk about the accusations. From there to 2:28, you say he's pompous, and you discuss his Not Safe for Work Discord channel, which is only arguably your own point because the original accusations in Pentagon's video made note of that. Then you talk about the contest, which, surprise, surprise, was a part of the original accusations. Your only additional input on it was that you joined, but then wouldn't join now. Marvelous contribution. Fascinating. From 302 to 316, you say that he bullies kids with his videos. Then you go on to say that he doesn't acknowledge criticism, which is another of the original accusations. At 335, you say he's a major dick to people who are less popular than him, but that's just an add-on to the original claim that he holds a subscriber account above people's heads and that he's a dick about it. Then you look at his tweets on the matter and rehash the accusations. You didn't just bookend your video with talk about the accusations, you sprinkled discussion of the accusations between what tiny points you thought you had. So what is that? Between 32 and 82 seconds of original content on your part? Ooh, honey worked so hard.
And a lot of people said that I made the video for views. I never make a video for views. never do. I just enjoy talking about things. You know, sometimes those things are not popular and they get low views, as many of you know. Some of my videos have like 600 or 800 views. And some of the things I like to talk about just happen to be popular topics. So, I didn't do it for views. Views is always just like basically almost never in my head. It's like in the back of my mind. Like I don't even think about it. I make videos for my own satisfaction and because I like to entertain people.
Now, I want all of you to hear what she just said and apply it to Spoctor making his own videos. Boom! Empathy.
I don't do it for views. But yeah, I'm sorry for doing that. I'm sorry for not doing research. It was just stupid of me to blindly follow these two YouTubers without doing any research whatsoever. However, one thing that I am upset about is how as soon as PONDER uploaded her video, as soon as she uploaded her video, my comment section was getting bombarded by people being like, wow, where's the proof? Wow, where's the evidence, Fran? This isn't proof, Fran. Wow, did you see PONDER's video? You're gonna feel ashamed. You're an idiot. You're stupid, Fran. It bothered me because, not because of, you know, people calling me an idiot and stuff, but just because before PONDER uploaded that video, the only comments I was getting was, wow, Fran, this is a really good video. Thank you for uploading this. Thank you for spreading the word. Everyone was agreeing with me, but then as soon as PONDER uploaded that video, everyone started to bombard me, and, you know, that really shows the mob mentality, and in my opinion, those people that bombarded my comment section thought the exact same thing as me before PONDER uploaded that video.
I'm just so fucking tired. So, you're in a good position when your video first comes out, and all you're receiving is positive feedback. But then my video comes out and then all the feedback turns negative. Fran, you do realize that this is you admitting that you're okay with the mob mentality. The mob mentality you played into by making your video in the first place, so long as it's in your favor. The minute that someone switches the direction of the mentality, however, oh no, that's a bad thing. God, if you want to make a comment on the mob mentality of the community, at least don't be involved and directly benefiting from the mentality before it changes and you then complain about it. I would also argue that, with how serious the allegations that your video and others touted were, it was important for people to be spreading it around as quickly as possible, just as you likely thought the same motherfucking thing before my video came out. You accused a guy of being a child predator. Now you're upset because people found out that wasn't true and set out to rectify the assumption? Poor baby, you played to the wrong side of the mob mentality and then it backfired on you. This isn't even proper mob mentality. Mob mentality refers to people being spurred into angry, emotionally charged fits by their peers, which is predicated on those emotions instead of logic or rationality. The claim of mob mentality would work for the way people were acting before my video came out, but my video wholly stripped the evidence from the equation, showcasing that it didn't work. So in that situation, where people are looking at and addressing the lack of credible evidence and therein using that to come to a conclusion, it wouldn't be mob mentality. Jesus fucking Christ. You know, when referring to something as thick, it's supposed to be a good thing, but your head is shaping up to be pretty thick with a double C.
So it really does show a lot about this community, and I am slowly starting to hate this community because of the mob mentality.
Oh, piss off.
So yeah, I did see PONDER's video in its entirety. And there are some things that I disagree with. You know, I obviously don't disagree with the things that she proved, like, you know, the screenshots and everything. I just disagree upon the fact that she treated the situation so lightly, like it was just any other thing.
Would you have preferred I fucking flit around like you, make a 5-minute long video and just say that Stories is a dickhead and that no one should make a video apologizing for them, believing in this bullcrap because that would be damage control? My video was almost 2 hours long, so forgive me if I make an attempt to keep people engaged so they actually see all of the evidence get ripped apart like the garbage that it is.
But you have to realize, we thought, the people that, like, made all these videos and stuff, we thought he was a pedophile. That's not something to be taken lightly.
Yeah, me devoting 4 whole days with little to no sleep while I was pet sitting and sick with the whooping cough to get the video out as quickly as possible to destroy the drama is me taking the situation lightly, despite the fact that Penegrin pointed out I usually take months to put out videos. Psst, if you guys watched my stream a little while back, this is the part where I got salty.
we thought that a big icon in our community was a pedophile. And you know, when you think someone's a pedophile, you're obviously going to act upon that fact. You know, you're going to want to spread the awareness.
You're going to want to act upon that fact. Are you high? The point of my video was that it wasn't a fact. The evidence was cropped. It was cut up, or it was completely unrelated to or didn't prove the claims. You admit yourself that you were being an idiot, that you didn't look further into the claims, and yet you believed what you were told and spread it. So you're blatantly acknowledging what I was trying to get across and explaining why the evidence shouldn't have been believed at face value. Now you have to understand, we thought he was a pedophile. No. Oh no, I do understand that. I understand you thought that because you were being an idiot. You acted on something that you incorrectly believed to be fact. I don't give a shit if you thought you were justified at the time. You made a fucking mistake. I don't even know if I can call it a mistake because accusing someone of grooming children and spreading that knowledge without looking into it is insanely irresponsible.
Of the fact that this guy might be a pedophile.
No! Not the fact that someone might be a pedophile. People were spreading the notion that he was. You didn't claim in your video that he might be guilty. You flat out said he was a sick person. You said he shouldn't try to defend himself. You don't just get to use the excuse that you were being a fucking moron, that you admitted that you were being a fucking moron, and pretend like that does anything to excuse your disgusting behavior. My entire video was predicated on the notion that these are serious allegations leveled against someone where the evidence provided doesn't back up the claims. Key word here is serious. Oh, sorry I hit your dog and killed it with my car. I was being an idiot and taking a selfie, but you have to understand, I thought the road was clear. You don't just spread around the fact that someone might be a pedophile. That's something you have to confirm, because it's fucking serious!
You're not going to sit there and think, but was he really attracted to the 12-year-old? Or was he attracted to the fact that the 12-year-old called him daddy? You know, you're just going to think, this is important, we need to get this out.
You are literally just perpetuating the mentality I made clear was a problem and the fueling fire for this bullshit.
You know, and anyone in any community would do that.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name's someone from another community, you fucking moron.
That's just what I think Ponder should have kept in mind, but instead she just treated it like, oh, haha, silly children, haha, drama, lol.
For someone who claims to have watched the entire video, you seem to have somehow slept through my screaming and rage by the end of the damn thing. And yeah, sorry, but I view a bunch of stupid children being stupid as kind of funny, and surprise to probably no one, maintaining that mentality is the only way I manage to get through the garbage fires that are half of the videos I cover, as you can tell by the fact that I just raged for the past 10 minutes and I'm losing my voice.
That's just my opinion, though. I did leave a comment in my comment section. I pinned it, and I also left what I said in the description, saying that I did see Ponder Sprocket's video, but that I stand by every single other thing that I said, and that people should have watched the entire video.
I stand by the 32 seconds of content I provided. Bite me! That last bite me made me dizzy. Jesus fuck.
And then people told me that they did watch the entire video, but that, oh, I was just nitpicking and scraping the bottom of the barrel, like as if I was trying to find reasons to hate Spoctor. Those are actual reasons to view him as kind of a jerk.
Oh yeah, that point where you said he can be a dick is definitely cause to believe that he's a jerk. You're so unaware, it hurts me. Like, I actually have a headache from covering your videos. This is why I have to stay peppy, people.
And I know it's not illegal to be a jerk, but that doesn't make him any better of a person, and I am allowed to talk about the reasons why he's a jerk.
The problem is that you did it alongside supporting the debunked allegations. If you want to make a video why he's a jerk, then make a video as to why he's a jerk. But the fact that you had to piggyback your own minor claim alongside something so unabashedly more serious really shows that you don't have enough to work with.
It was not me scraping at the bottom of the barrel. It was me just showing things that he does on a regular basis.
Those maybe two things.
It's things that he does in front of people. It wasn't me just trying to find the singular moments in time where he did those things. It's things that he does regularly.
Which is why you couldn't bring up public instances of him doing this? Are you for fucking real?
Besides the whole, thing with his server, how he had an NSFW channel in his server, that was obviously a long time ago. But just because it was a long time ago doesn't mean that I can't criticize him for it.
If he's changed his stance on the matter, yeah, it does kind of mean that you can no longer criticize his present-day person for his past actions or beliefs. That's like criticizing me for artwork I did 3 years ago.
So yeah, I stand by every single other one of my points. The only thing I don't stand by is, of course, the screenshots and the time when I said that, you know, he didn't pay his artist.
So you stand by the fact that you think he's a jerk. Brilliant, great.
However, I don't like the fact that people were telling me that I ruined his life. This is the internet. The internet is not his entire life.
Incidentally, that's not something that Stories and Penegrin believe.
He can't ignore it when he's being called a pedophile, but that shit will ruin his job. And guess what his friends IRL watch his videos. He's told me that. They're well aware of who Spoctor Theory is, so...
Yeah, like, I have this gut feeling that this is gonna be it for him. His channel is already dying.
He'll be shown by all the communities he's in for this.
Especially in the furry community.
And after being exposed as a sexual harasser and a pedophile, he's gonna be done for.
Fairies have a bad rap as it is if they don't want someone like him hanging around them.
They hate people who give them a bad name. Like, they insta-shove people out.
I think the only way he'll be able to get out of this will be to 1, face the music and actually better himself, or 2, ditch his accounts and just come back as a brand new person.
Even if he ignored it, his comment section will be filled with people asking stuff. I think he's too up his own arse to his accounts.
Agreed. That's another reason why I want everyone to block him after we have all this done.
And like, who the fuck wants to actually side with him wholeheartedly in something as objective as this?
So he can't just talk to us privately about it, he has to talk about it publicly.
He shouldn't have done the voice reveal, LMAO. He could have fucking hid behind that Sona and came back as a new person, but now he can't.
Yep.
If he doesn't address it publicly, he's done for. He's done for either way, to be honest.
Agreed.
Is it bad? I really want to see what happens to his sub count after this.
I'm doing all of that. Working at Pixar. Good luck with that, man.
Hope one day I'll work for Pixar. It's my dream job.
I also tossed his entire Twitter into the Wayback Machine.
Even if you want to claim, oh, well, that's just their misguided opinion on what would happen, the internet doesn't affect real life, then to that I have to say, no. You can find plenty of examples of people whose real lives have been affected by things said online. Justine Sacco was fired from her job as a director of corporate communications after she tweeted, "Going to Africa, hope I don't get AIDS, just kidding, I'm white." Alicia Ann Lynch was fired after tweeting out her costume as a victim of the Boston bombing. Adria Richards got a guy fired from Playhaven because he made a joke about big dongles at a programming conference and just happened to be sitting behind her. The Gainesville girls, who made a racist video and then a second video defending their own racist video, which then went viral, had to be protected by an officer of the law while at school so that they weren't attacked and eventually had to be homeschooled. Roseanne Barr's show was recently canceled because of a controversial tweet. There's literally a show on the Sci-Fi Channel called The Internet Ruined My Life. You seriously don't think that with the mob mentality you've already spoken about, people wouldn't track Spoctor down on any new accounts he potentially made, especially with something as serious as pedophile accusations? This is just naive thinking. People have already tracked down Penegrin now that the tables have turned. I've been approached with her real name so that I could contact the police. Anybody who gains a large following online who is then recognized in their daily lives can tell you that internet bleeds into reality. Christina Grimmie, a YouTuber, was shot and killed by one of her fans after a show, for Christ's sake. Maybe what happened on the internet stayed on the internet once upon a time, but that's certainly not the case nowadays, and certainly not for serious allegations.
If he can go outside and get a job or something, like, his persona on the internet is not his entire life. He can easily come back to any other community, or even this community again, as someone else. He can disguise himself as someone else.
He can't disguise himself from those who already know who he is whilst playing the role of Spoctor Theory. You're pretending like there isn't anyone who would be able to recognize him on other platforms, or that there aren't other people who know him outside of the internet who are aware of his YouTube channel. If he started posting art, for example, people could recognize him through his style. He's used his real voice in his videos before, so he'd never be able to use his real voice again for fear of being recognized. Even then, some people can
recognize the vocal patterns of different people, even if it's pitch shifted or altered in various ways. A few years ago, an account called In the Name of Anonymous was trolling the commentary community, and I was just sitting there laughing because I recognized Anon as being Half-Boiled Hero, another commentator at the time. Toon Critic, an alleged child predator from the Brony community, had his new account tracked down almost instantly despite making a new name and avatar. Need I direct anyone to the Adventures of Shia LaBeouf and the He Will Not Divide Us stream, the flag featured in which was constantly tracked down and sabotaged despite the various location changes? People tracked down where the stream was based on things like wind patterns blowing the flag and planes in the sky. If people are incentivized to track you down, they will. And people are more incentivized to track down those who flee from things they did wrong. Penegrin!
And nobody will know because he's good at disguising himself as Spoctor Theory. So he can disguise himself as someone else. It's not that hard. Or he can, stop worrying about internet drama. He can go outside. He can go to school. He can get a job and live a life. There is more to life than the animation meme community. I hope you know. There's a life outside of the animation meme community.
Ah yes, get chased out of a community that you enjoy making videos for because of false allegations and because people couldn't be arsed to look into claims before accepting them as they were. Who cares if you really enjoy what you do and you've made a significant number of friends in that community? Just go do something else. I don't know if Spoctor gets paid for his videos, but heck, step away from a potential source of revenue. I don't even mind someone saying that maybe some people should find other ways to occupy their time, but Fran's entire reason for this is, oh, I didn't ruin his life because he can just fuck off somewhere else and it won't affect him. Yeah, Fran, the victim of the false allegation should be pushed out of the community. Sure, okay, you were too stupid to look into the claims that you then purportedly decided to spread to a wider audience, so the guy you've helped in ruining the reputation of should just accept it and go somewhere else. Because you made a mistake. Are you for fucking real? You only say it won't affect him because you won't see it affecting him, and therein it won't affect you.
And I hope people realize that, yes, I partially contributed to ruining his persona's identity on the internet. I did not ruin him. I did not ruin his person, his being. I did not tarnish his name. He can still live an extremely normal life.
Fran, you're being an idiot. Still, you called him a pedophile. Many people called him a pedophile on top of the already pretty bad and, reminder here, false allegations. If anyone in his real life were to ever come across these videos, or if the mob mentality pushed into finding out who actively knew Spoctor in real life, he'd be screwed. Even then, you're assuming that there aren't already people he knows in real life who are aware of his online persona. You're practically delusional in this video.
If he would just do the smart thing and, either just go live a life outside, or if he would disguise himself as someone else on the internet.
Do the smart thing and just go hide somewhere. Why don't you do the smart thing and fuck off?
That's my opinion, This is the internet. You can easily just turn off your screen and go outside, but, I personally don't think I ruined his life.
Oh, you can you? Just up and go outside and not have to worry about the internet? Is that why you messaged me on DeviantArt? Because of a comment I left on Heaton Mitsuru's commentary on you where I said the video was bad? Not exactly practicing what you preach there.
That's all I wanted to say. I know this isn't really the apology video where I'm putting myself in a small corner in a box and saying that I'm a horrible person and wow, I should have never made that video and grr, I'm so horrible, blah. I think that I just should have done more research on those two parts that I messed up.
I don't like this. I don't like this mentality. Just this, oh, but it was just an honest mistake, so I'll just apologize for what I messed up on. Fran, even if you want to claim that you're not at fault for believing Atari and Penegrin's videos, you directly called Spoctor a pedophile, something that neither Atari nor Penegrin did in their videos. No, Fran, you spread false information. You may not be at fault for believing a lie, but you are responsible for making a video on the subject and spreading it further. You jumped into something that you didn't know enough about and perpetuated a lie. You should apologize to Spoctor for that.
It's a scummy thing to do, especially since you then proceeded to take your own petty issues with Spoctor and play them off as if they were just as important and condemning as the allegations. You really don't understand how serious child predator allegations are, do you? Why did you even bother making an apology? You haven't actually apologized for anything. You've just acknowledged that I called everyone who was just as lazy as you are in this situation a fucking moron.
Let's go.
If you see a comment that denotes a dislike of a video that you made,
No, Kaden, let me take over for a bit. So you would have appreciated it if I had told you directly that this video was bad. Yeah, and I'm sure that Spoctor would have appreciated it if you hadn't called him a pedophile, because, oh yeah, that was something that Atari and Penegrin didn't do in their videos. Yeah, it's almost like they realized it would be a bad thing. Oh, but yeah, I'm sure the next time I'm trying to, topple child abuse allegations, considering they were false, I'll be sure to go to each and every one of the videos, blindly following the leader and spreading those false allegations. And I'll be sure to tell them that the video was bad. You know, Fran, despite the fact that you say that you can just walk away from the situation, I seem to remember that after I left a comment on Heaton Mitsuru's commentary on you, where I said the video was bad, you felt the need to come to me directly. Oh, I would have appreciated it if you'd told me directly your thoughts on the video. You know, I also seem to recall you talking about me in your apology, saying that you didn't like how I approached the situation.
Well, gee, Fran, I would have appreciated it if you'd approached me directly and told me your thoughts on the video.
Maybe now you guys realize why I thought the apology video was one of the worst of the Spoctor drama-related videos I had to cover. It's almost like everybody is a child in this situation, and it's kind of disgusting. Alright, back to Octomama titties.
Shit just went down very fast lately. Now, if you guys think I'm hitting the bandwagon, then I suggest you think about yourselves, because I'm just trying to spread the word and keep this guy from hurting others.
Insert me, screaming into a nebulous void.
So, if you haven't heard, the YouTuber that goes by the name of Spoctor Theory was exposed for releasing a dick pic to an underage girl, and then he started saying weird sexual favors towards her even though she told him to stop, but he just kept on going. I find this very pathetic and just plain wrong for Spoctor to do something like this. Is he even using his damn head? Spoctor, use your damn head. What are you doing?
I could say that about everyone who made one of these videos. I guess you deleting the video after the fact is supposed to be you using your damn head?
It's like you're just trying to ruin your own career. Now, he did say on Twitter, and I quote, "I'm making a video about everything this evening. A tweet won't suffice." So he is possibly going to respond to this whole drama shithole.
Possibly? The tweet right underneath that talking about how he's going to make a statement denotes that it's about the recent videos, that being Atari and Penegrin's videos at the time.
Now, when I first reacted to Spoctor doing all these absurd things, I felt a bullet to my stomach. Something just didn't feel right about the situation. It just felt unnatural for a popular person to do this kind of thing.
And yet somehow you still went along with it.
I am going to predict that Spoctor Theory possibly has a weird uncontrollable fetish that caused him into this mess. This is quite similar to the Toxicai situation. But hey, what do you guys think?
I think you're making leaps and bounds out of nowhere.
Please comment down below about your thoughts and I will be listening.
But the video's gone!
So stay safe everyone. Oh, I forgot. Kudos to Gerald for the Toxicai and Spoctor collaboration image.
Let's go sexually harass more people over the internet! I thought the Toxicai drama was because of, like, rape jokes or something, or a character that liked rape. Can things please just be cohesive in this community? And of course, let's end the video off with an inappropriate end card just for good measures. I really gotta promote my other stuff despite this purportedly just being a video spreading awareness for the sake of good. I'm so glad so many of these videos are short.
Okay, recently I found Turkey's video saying that people should avoid Spoctor Theory because of his sexual behavior, and I thought about like blocking my hiding my Discord if Spoctor Theory were to like try to harass me or something.
Yes, because I know of a situation, I'm going to now be targeted by the controversial figure at the center of it. That's how that works.
I tried to search up avoid Spoctor Theory videos, and this came up. Stay away from Spoctor Theory, avoid Spoctor Theory at all costs, stay away everything about Spoctor Theory.
Well, you did type avoid Spoctor theory in the search bar. That is how a search bar works, honey.
For some of you wondering if avoiding Spoctor theory might be a good idea, I don't know. I should, probably, hide my thing just in case Spoctor theory comes in, because, I have a Discord now, but I still don't know how to use it yet.
Wait. You don't know if people should hide from Spoctor theory, but you're gonna hide from Spoctor theory. If you don't know enough about the situation as to determine whether or not it's a good idea to hide from Spoctor theory, then why are you making a video on the matter?
So, it's kind of unscripted, but, I just wanted to ask why Spoctor theory would act like this.
I can't even tell if this is them asking the audience for clarifications on the matter, or if this is just them extending a question to Spoctor in the same vein as, why would you do this? Like, you just searched up and resulted in various videos that said, stay away from Spoctor theory. Why would you not just watch them?
And maybe it's because, someone hacked into his account, or someone. It might not be the real Spoctor theory. Or something.
I'm not sure if I can appreciate the skepticism here because of how naive the reasoning behind it is.
It's probably a different person hacking into Spoctor's account or something. Or that just Spoctor acting like a new behavior that he never was before.
I'm sorry, have you actually spoken to Spoctor before? Can you really claim that such and such is not a behavior that a person has expressed before when you don't interact with them outside of their promoted content? If you haven't interacted with them frequently beforehand, you can't really say whether or not they're acting in or out of character simply because you are not aware of their typical character.
And I realized that Spoctor lost his subs due to his newly sexual behavior, and yeah. I have a Discord now. It's right here. I don't know if I should, block it just in case Spoctor theory comes up. I mean, I don't have a server, but, I still need an explanation how to use Discord.
How old are you?
So, I want to follow Turkey and all of other people's advice to get away from Spoctor theory at Discord, Twitter, or something. I suggest you, avoid Spoctor theory too, because, I want to be at their side.
Shouldn't you be striving to be on the right side?
I'm gonna be at Turkey and all the others' side to avoid Spoctor theory. Cynthia knows Spoctor, but, I remember that enlisted video where she forces Spoctor to eat her soup because she wants to apologize to him.
Guys, I have no idea what's happening.
Again, this might not make sense, but it's probably because a hacker hacked into his account and started posting sexual behavioral stuff with the stupid stuff on Discord, Twitter, and all the social media stuff.
Wait! So, if you think that Spoctor's account has been hacked, and someone is supposed to be framing him for the sexual content, then why would you be on Question Turkey's side on the matter? Question Turkey was under the impression that Spoctor himself was the perpetrator. By making that statement, you've denoted that you clearly don't think that. Why would you then block Spoctor as if he was the perpetrator and then side with someone who believes him to be as much? That doesn't make any sense.
You're that, you're probably right that Spoctor is acting a bit strange.
I'm going to gargle nails!
It's just sexually strange. Posting some stupid sexual stuff like raping, pedophilia, or something.
What? Posting rape and pedophilia? Where? What are you even talking about? Now you're under the impression that Spoctor was posting rape and pedophilia related content? Where on earth did you get that from?
So if you sub the Spoctor theory, like Turkey said, please unsub him because, or just don't watch his videos or not speak to him on, like, any social media, like Discord or Twitter, because, I'm following, Turkey and all the others, all the other animators' things that, all their videos, just to make sure that I'm safe,
Because I think that Spoctor had his account hacked, and maybe someone is making him seem gross and sexual, so you should block the victim of the hack.
I really don't want to be sexually harassed by Spoctor theory. I never been harassed. I mean, he probably won't like find me because I'm probably like really new, even though I have like 16 subscribers. So
Yes, 16 subscribers would be new. I doubt he had any interest or knowledge of you. Good job in making this video and effectively connecting yourself to the Spoctor drama. You know, something that would directly bring you up in a search for Spoctor theory on YouTube, which is how I found your video. Brilliant.
I might block Spoctor theory, just hold on. I'm gonna unblock him just in case. Block the user. There. I don't even know what he did wrong. Probably those stupid videos.
Ah! No! Ah! It hurts. It hurts my brain. Oh, there's even a map about him. The breathing holes with sausages galore. How can you say that you don't know what Spoctor did wrong, but then also say that you're blocking Spoctor so that you're not sexually harassed by him? You must have some inclination as to what people were mad at him for.
Right over here. Let's see, where was it? I don't know, I'm not sure what he did, but he probably like the ones that say joking.
I saw the red bar on Question Turkey's video. I know you watched it. How can you come out of that and not know what the accusations against Spoctor were? How can you think people were mad because he made bad videos? How can you think he was hacked and framed, but also think that videos uploaded weeks ago were why people were mad? Did the hacker make the videos too?
They all say joking. So I'm pretty sure those are the ones that Turkey was talking about.
Did Turkey even talk about Spoctor's videos? I'm too tired to care to remember.
So if you subbed to Spoctor 3, again, please unsub him and avoid him if you don't want to be sexually harassed.
By the person whom I believe to have hacked his account. This is stupid!
Hey guys, it stays Megado. So yesterday we got some news on Spoctor. Some horrible things has been told about this raptor man.
Oh god, the bad videos from Spoctor's poorly done rant series are invading the commentary!
What's going on? Atari has explained it in her video, which I will link down below for you guys to get more info on. Let's get on with the video anyway. Like I said, this is a rant, so here we go. Recently, Spoctor has been sexual harassing minors and request a few people to do not so family-friendly work. Here are some screenshots to have proof on this situation. Some may have contained maturity, so yeah.
You know that big open space beside your character is usually where you put the screenshots, right?
These aren't mine, but this shows the minor was being sexually harassed by Spoctor theory. It seems that this minor was feeling uncomfortable.
Now we find a video where someone sees the screenshots and think there was only one minor involved. The phone breaks in many places.
But I won't go into much more detail. Some of you might have known about this. Anyway, if you've seen his Twitter page, he tweeted that he made a mistake and needs to collect all of it up into thoughts and make a tweet about it, but instead he decided that wouldn't be good enough since some other somewhat fans said that he needs to get his side of the story out. We all know he is gonna make up something to feel sorry. Maybe that's just a thought, but he could have just told the reason why and probably will leave YouTube or something like that. In all honesty, Spoctor, you don't deserve those subscribers if they are gonna be subscribed to a person who sexual assaulted a minor that was clearly young and wasn't feeling very comfortable. Why would anyone feel sorry for you if they knew the horrible things you did?
Jesus Christ, lady! Periods! Use them! So firstly, talking about Spoctor tweeting about how he's going to make a video. You see what kind of position Spoctor was being put in? Right here, Daze is dismissing any potential explanation he might have as simply an excuse, making something up to make himself look like the victim. Spoctor hasn't even said anything at this point, and the general consensus is anything he says in defense of his actions is a lie or an excuse. Daze even acknowledges that some fans were encouraging him to make the video. So you've got those on the one side saying make the video, get your side out, and the other side saying don't even bother, it'll just be an excuse. I do not envy DeviantArt ranters, and I'm confused as to what Daze is supposed to be saying with the he could have just told reason why and probably will leave YouTube. Are you saying he should just give a reason why he was allegedly sexually harassing a child? This is still an assumption coming from a biased outlook on the matter.
You put this on yourself. So you're gonna have to go live with the mistake you did and realize nobody is gonna feel sorry for what you did.
I think Daze should count themselves lucky that Spoctor has so far not shared in that sentiment.
Nobody will be on your side for what you just did there.
Y'all always sound so sure of yourselves.
Now this here story's trying to get down to the level of Hitler or Satan somehow. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there, I'll tell you how I basically lost all my faith in humanity. Somebody please kill me.
Before we start the video, I just wanted to say I do not know these people personally, and I'm not trying to basically put myself into the drama. I'm here to spread awareness to my viewers and other people in the art community and the community itself.
Okay, can we just dispel this idea that in making a video about a matter that you are not fully aware of or involved in mean that you are not connecting yourself to the drama and that you're just spreading awareness of the situation? In a situation where you believe the accusations and evidence presented in Atari and Penegrin's videos about Spoctor, you don't need to make another video on the topic rehashing the same things. If your claim is that you're spreading awareness, then all you have to do is spread awareness of the original videos making the claims. You know, the ones made by people clearly more versed in the situation, who also got things horribly, horribly wrong. You can tweet about it, blog about it, post a journal about it, linking to the video, or just put up a blank video saying watch link in description and link off to the video that notified you of the matter. Making a new video isn't necessary, and in doing so, you are jumping on a bandwagon and inserting yourself into the drama, as evidenced by the fact that I found this video by searching Spoctor theory and looked at recent uploads. How does nobody understand this? It was a big thing. Lots of videos were being made. If you're not coming in from a different side or perspective, offering up something new to the situation, then your rehashing video isn't needed and spreads the information as about as well as the general average views on your videos, which I'm currently looking at. Okay. Another question, why does everyone with an average view count of less than 100 always think they're going to spread these important messages effectively? You're not.
I'm here to talk about one person and one person only. Spoctor theory. Now, the reason why I'm talking about Spoctor theory is because he has done so many terrible things that you guys have not seen. Now, I do not know these people personally, like I said, but from what I can tell, he has done some pretty shady things.
Guys, you don't need to personally know or talk to those involved in situations like this. I myself explicitly try not to talk to anyone involved in the video, just so that I could look at what evidence they provide critically. I'd never spoken to Spoctor, Ghosty, or Question Turkey or Stories before, and I only spoke with Penegrin and Atari for the first time 4 days before my video went up, because I was pressured into it by a frequent commissioner on DA who was also getting himself tangled into the mix. These accusations were based on the evidence provided, and looking at that was enough for me to recognize that the allegations were flawed. Digital Leo, surprise, surprise, despite also not interacting with those involved, doesn't look further into the evidence as a counter. There were only two things here, guys. The evidence and the accusers. If you can't look at one, you look at the other. And let's be honest, if there's no evidence to look at, what do the accusers even have going for them?
He has not done any shady things with me, but on the other hand, he has done shady things to other artists and 13-year-olds and 12-year-olds, and I find that very wrong. Even though this person is still underage, which is wrong, and I'll get on to that later, he has asked people for multiple things that are not safe for work, and it's just gross.
Why is that always the go-to thing for art weebs talking about sexy time stuff? It's gross, it's gross. I want to know how many of them have actually been to a life drawing class and then still say it's gross.
He's asked underage children to do things that are gross. So I will be talking about this today. If you want to click off the video now, which if you can't handle it, or handle me speaking about it, go ahead. But if you're okay, let's get on with the video.
Leo, trigger warnings don't work unless you mention what the potential trigger is. This introduction is so vague, it's painful.
This is a disclaimer. In the past few days, people have been going to people telling their experiences with Spoctor theory. I'm keeping these people anonymous so no hate goes towards them.
And, you know, also probably because Atari and Pentagon didn't mention who they were. At that point, what ones are you even aware of? Stories, Ghosty? The ones who practically outed themselves by making their own videos effectively proving that it was them? Good effort there, smart guy.
A person came forth saying how Spoctor developed feelings for them. He sent this person nudes. He also said gross things to this person. He also said their boyfriend didn't have to know they were also in a relationship themselves, and more. Please keep in mind this is a very young teen. No matter how old the person is, it doesn't make this problem any better.
Well, that depends on what you're claiming the problem is. Is the problem sending nudes? Developing feelings for them? Saying gross things? Saying the boyfriend didn't need to know? You claim that no matter the age of the teen, these things aren't acceptable, but the age of the teen kinda does matter here. In fact, it was in hiding the age of this particular person that the original videos were able to vilify Spoctor so much. You don't even mention how old Spoctor himself is, and his age obviously plays a factor too, so why not bring that up? I'd almost surmise that you didn't know what it was.
What he said to this person was wrong. They didn't want Spoctor saying these things to them, but he kept insisting. This also counts as sexual child abuse. Non-contact abuse.
Somebody really liked Atari's video.
Involves non-touching activities such as grooming, exploitation, persuading children to perform sexual acts over the internet.
Exploitation and persuading children to do sexual acts over the internet, huh? You mean like how Stories sexually exploited a teenager and convinced him to do sexual acts and send it over the internets? Oh, don't worry, my pets. We'll get there.
It includes encouraging a child to watch or hear sexual acts. Not making proper measurements to prevent a child from being exposed to said sexual acts. Meeting a child following sexual grooming with the intent of abusing them. Online abuse including making, viewing, or distributing child abuse images. Allowing someone else to make, view, or distribute child abuse images.
I honestly think that Leo is reading these criteria off without actually understanding what the provided evidence would actually make the accused guilty of.
So he's a child exploiter.
Literally how? None of the screenshots you provided actually show this. You're simply claiming this because the videos you watched originally accusing him claimed as much. The very last of the examples listed was sexually exploiting a child for money, power, or status. child exploitation. So that's the exploitation that Leo is referring to, but where was this in the evidence provided? Exploitation refers to unfair treatment of a person with the goal of benefiting from their hard work. There's no explanation given here as to how the accused would fit into that category. Leo simply says that's what it is, and we're meant to believe.
This is not the first time this has happened. There are 5 people coming with evidence. He's doing the same things to them. This is not the first time he's partaken in sexual misconduct. He had someone he was dating. Doing the same things to them he's doing now. Always saying gross things. Kept begging for one of their friends to draw NSFW art for him. After the 13-year-old artist said no and wasn't feeling okay with doing such an act, he kept going on, as you can see from these screenshots here. I kind of find it disgusting that he was begging a 13-year-old to draw not safe work art of them.
Literally none of the screenshots you just showed actually showcase that. Did you even read these screenshots before making this video? They're not even remotely related to what you're claiming. Had you actually gotten the screenshots like I did, then you would know that in the situations provided as evidence, Spoctor was asking whether or not the artists did not safe for work content. The 2 artists, one being Ghosty, whom I believe was actually 14 at the time. On May 8th, Spoctor refers to Ghosty being 14 and himself 16, and it was on May 2nd when he was asking if Ghosty drew smut. Without provocation from Spoctor, aside from him asking the question, Ghosty says that they can draw smut and even answers when Spoctor asks how explicit they can get with as much as you want. Hell, Spoctor's effectively providing an out if the artist wasn't comfortable drawing something so explicit. But the artist goes along with it. The second example provided showcases a minor who already draws smut. Strange how Spoctor was somehow able to force them into drawing porn before he ever even asked about it. Also, you guys, I'm adding this way after writing this part. You're gonna want to pay attention to part 2 because holy fucking shit. This part get good. This part gets good.
I have screenshots from his ex which they had this to say. So he's a child exploiter. This is not the first time this has happened. There are 5 people coming with evidence. He's doing the same things to them.
Did I just go through a time warp? Am I going to comment on another Chaos 55T video 2 days before it's uploaded?
This is not the first time he's partaken in sexual misconduct. He had someone he was dating. Doing the same things to them he's doing now. Always saying gross things.
Okay, I was joking at first, but this audio is definitely copy-pasted from earlier in the video. What gives? I'm fucking skipping it.
Keep this in mind. Spoctor Theory is also underage, and so is his girlfriend. She goes on to say that in the relationship, he was more sexual towards her. And when she told him that she was uncomfortable, he'd just go on and say, but dating me will get you used to it. I find this very wrong because sexual stuff in a relationship doesn't really matter. It mostly matters on how much you love the person and understand them.
I'm just gonna slink into my corner. I think we all know how the Octomama would respond to that.
So I find this very wrong, hearing this from another person saying, oh, but you should get used to it because you're dating me, so we should be sexual together.
Pound me while I draw you pounding me!
The ex goes on to say, then when my 13-year-old friend was venting, he just turned and said, go touch yourself or something. Then, even if they weren't venting, it's still kind of fucked up to say ironically to a 13-year-old, you know? And then to my other 13-year-old friend, he kept pushing her to draw a gift of us two, even though she said she was uncomfortable. I didn't want to. She said this several times.
Several times, and yet for some reason we don't have screenshots of that. Instead, we only have someone's recounting of the situation. And I mean, people never lie or exaggerate claims, right? That's why my last video never existed!
And when she finally gave in, he kept DMing me really weird stuff about it, even though he said he wouldn't. Also, the ex said that Spoctor Theory didn't even go by their proper pronouns.
So even when one of the accusers just thinks that he was being rude and not transphobic, that's still something to bring up in a video that covers something as serious as child sexual grooming. Sure. Okay.
Which was they and them. They go on to say, I don't think Spoctor theory is transphobic, but he was being rude when they didn't even go by those proper pronouns. Even when he just did call me this gender here, he would not even correct himself, and he would just call me an it. I find this very, very disrespectful. Me being part of the LGBT community, and someone not going by your proper pronouns, is just very disrespectful. I am trans male, and seeing this kind of breaks my heart a little bit, because a boyfriend didn't care to their lover's needs. Nice on you, Spoctor. Nice on you.
A boyfriend didn't care to their lover's needs. Yeah, that's generally why a lot of people break up, which is why this is Spoctor's ex. Also, why refer to them as his lover? You already denoted that there was no sexual contact between them. People being lovers refers to people in sexual relationships.
Fucking asshole. He has a facade going on. Voice changer, adult lizard man talks right.
You're straight up just repeating Atari word for word in some places. Must I reiterate how unnecessary this video was, especially when paired up with the stupid excuse of, I'm just spreading awareness.
He has never stated his age anywhere aside to his friends. No one questioned him for anything. Questioned him for what, you may ask? How he constantly endorsed not safe for work images of his OC.
Okay, we're done with you. Beyond this point, there is so much of what Digital Leo says that is word for word taken from Atari that you can just watch my last video and get the gist of things. Leo even goes the extra mile and does the same thing Atari did in claiming that Spoctor was transphobic despite the views of the person he was purportedly being transphobic to in the screenshots. Except Leo was actually dumb enough to read that part off and then still ignore it. Why was your video supposed to be necessary again? Digital Leo, or should I call you Diet Atari?
Let's go.
When you're going to make the claim that someone was sending sexually suggestive photos to a minor, that minor should probably not be saying, if he sent me a kind of suggestive photo, it might be enough to suggest that he went further. It gives the implication that you're lying about the severity of the content and purposefully hiding that with exaggerated claims. That minor should not then also be sending that photo to another minor and an adult, because if people on the outside were to look at the redacted image and think that is supposed to be the nude you claimed the minor sent you, that would be the distribution of child pornography. Whoopsie daisy.
With that, we're actually going to cut things short and take a break, and I'm sure this comes as a surprise to no one. I'm not nearly done with these videos, nor these screenshots, nor this script. There are only so many 2-hour-long videos I can expect people to watch before they want to strangle me with my own tectopus. Don't worry, my cuties, we'll have even more fun in due time. There's so much more to cover, so much more cringe, a lot more people to hear from, and a heck of a lot more entertainment for you. For now, I'd like to give a huge thanks to Pixaloon for drawing the thumbnail for this video, and even more so for allowing me to use it here. Speaking of art, we have ourselves a whole heap of new pieces by Cutie Pies. First of all, we have the Death of Penegrin by the totally N-E-A-T and not N-E-E-T Neat PNG. Then we have Drawing Lewd Is Not Bad by SPROCKET. Oh no, oh goodness. Sproxy, baby. I still love ya. Kiss kiss. No hard feelings. No hard feelings. Here's a 3D modeled piece. Cats and Goats Are Living Together by the Warrior Driving Into Your Heart Steampunk Soldier 12. And if you thought I was jokey about not watching to the end of this video if you didn't like tasteful nudity, then you probably wouldn't be able to appreciate Not Allowed by the possibly sticky but most assuredly sublime Slime Tiger. To follow that up, we've got a hot diggity dog damn piece, Ponder Sprocket by the certainly in tune with the girly elements Ricky is a girly demon. Next up, we have Ponder at the Hot Springs by someone all you cuties can be the kohai to, Little Senpai Babe. Our penultimate cuteness is Ponder Sprocket in Some Flowers by the equally cute Nam Nam Chu. I really like that name, just like, it sounds really nice when you say it. And we end off with a glorious, tasteful nude simply titled Ponder by a really bored artist who may be bored in name, but is certainly not lacking in talent. Hot damn. If you like any of these pieces, you can check out the originals and the artists in the links in the description. I would also like to thank everyone who helped me put this video together, whether that be Doodle Tones for editing, for all of my friends for helping me with recording additional lines. Big extra thank you to my patrons, and especially my top patrons, Mr. Radiance and Santiago Martinez Rivera, who have really been helping to support me not only make these videos, but also work on my own comics. You guys are amazing. If you're interested in those comics, you can check them out on DA, Tapas, or become one of the lovely sea creatures supporting me on Patreon if that's your cup of tea. I'll see you all in the next installment of Cringe, my cuties, where there will be a heck of a lot more screenshots to rip apart, a lot more bad arguments, and even a re-emergence of someone I covered in the last video. Octomama, out.